Sega president calls Sonic Superstars a disappointment. Sega boss Shuji Utsumi says Sonic Superstars didn't meet expectations. So, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I didn't even know this game was actually a thing. So hearing this news, I feel like it is a little bit of a disappointment for myself as well, just because I didn't even know that Sonic Superstars had came out and that there was a game that they had done in this vein. So hearing this news, especially after I did my video the other day in regards to Sonic Adventure 2, like the Unreal Engine remake that they did, hearing that this had came out in regards to this game, I feel like this is a little bit of a disappointment. But at the same time, with what the individual had stated, this Sega boss, there were some things that I agree with in regards to the statements that they made, as well as some stuff that I didn't quite agree with. So we'll go ahead and get into it, and yeah, I'll give my thoughts as we go along with the article here. So let's get into this. So Sega president Shuji Utsumi has called Sonic Superstars a disappointment. The Sega president has said that while he thinks the franchise's most recent release, Sonic X Shadows Generations, is awesome, he didn't think Superstars turned out as well as the company hoped. We're trying to do something creative with Sonic Frontiers, said Utsumi, speaking to Eurogamer. With Sonic Superstars, it turned out to be a disappointment in terms of the outcome compared to what we delivered. So it is a bit disappointing to kind of hear that information, just because of the fact that I'm not sure exactly what this game entails. If anything, I'm kind of thinking that they might have done kind of something similar to like a Mario All Stars kind of a thing, where they have a whole bunch of older games and everything like that. From the screenshot I'm seeing here, if this is from the game, I actually would like to see what direction it's taken, just because of the fact that if they did try doing kind of like the older style of Sonic, but giving it like a little bit like of a modern day kind of feel with graphics and everything like that. I gotta say I am pretty sad that that didn't take off and that didn't do really well, because for me I still have my Sega Genesis, and Sonic Adventure 1, 2, and 3 were some of the ones that I used to love playing back in the day. Those were some really fun games for me. So seeing that this didn't do well for them, I feel like it's really sad. It's a bit of a disappointment in regards to it not doing as well. So this time we have Sonic X Shadows Generations and the next Sonic movie. So we're pushing things into the transmedia direction. Movies and games working in harmony to make things bigger, but the core of the experience is the game. The game needs to be very good or else there is no transmedia effect. And that's one of the things, like, hearing this in a sense is kind of sad, hearing it from the Sega boss themselves, because as you all can, I'm guessing, kind of tell, it is true. Whenever you do have, a good game and you have something like movies out and things like that, you do want to make sure that they are all on the best that they can possibly be. They're all on their A game, because if the games do really well, it can help push the sales for the movies, as well as the fact that if the movie is done really well, it can help push sales for the game. So that's something that I feel like the comic book industry could have used some information on with like Marvel and everything like that. Because I've heard that so many times, especially listening to like YouTubers online, like Nerdrotic and stuff like that, where they mention that like when the MCU was at its peak, that's when like the comic book industry should have been like just pushing a whole bunch of their stories and everything like that like crazy. Because if the movies are doing well, it's going to help the comic book sales. But what they ended up doing was going to like these obscure stories in the comic book world that a lot of people just weren't into, or it had like characters that had the name of the individuals. Like I remember that's when they said that Iron Man would have Iron Man comics, but it would be Ironheart would be the character, the little black girl that kind of followed what Tony did. So it's one of those things, you got to make sure that you have these two working hand in hand. Otherwise, it's just not going to do well. And as far as being able to push these properties, so that's really sad that this individual sees that. But there was other areas, especially in today's media, where a lot of businessmen and women out there just don't really seem to kind of follow that same formula. So, previously, the company had implied that Super Mario Bros. Wonders was responsible for Sonic Superstars selling fewer copies than expected, as the two games released during the same week. And personally, I don't necessarily agree with that, just because I know that Super Mario Bros. Wonder was really big when it did come out, because a lot of people were talking about how good it is. And I heard a lot of people mentioning that it felt like it was probably one of the best, like, kind of 2D almost type of Mario games since Super Mario World. But at the same time, like I said, I never even heard about Sonic. What is it? See, I can't even remember the name. So Sonic Superstars being a thing around that time. So the fact that they're trying to kind of not necessarily blame it, but put some of the blame on Mario Bros. I don't really know if I agree with that. I feel like this is more of like a marketing thing. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you guys didn't market the game well enough to actually have it. Because had I heard about this, I probably would have at least checked it out, and if not, been able to get it for a family member. Because there's someone I know, one of my family members that I know who loves Sonic, and I feel like this would have been a game right up his alley, if you know what I mean, if I got the chance to kind of get it for them. So hearing this information, that right there, I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. So Sega, and then yeah, so Sega has stated that Sonic Superstars has sold fewer copies than had been forecast. So during the Q&A, Sega Sammy Holdings executive vice president Makoto Takahashi and IRSR department director Nubaki Yoshi were asked how they evaluated the game's performance. Although Sonic Superstars has generally been well received by those who have played it, the timing of the launch coincided with competing titles in the same genre, and it has been short of the initial forecast, they replied. So that's one of the situations, like, yes, there is the whole thing with you having competitive games out there coming out around the same time, but again, that's kind of on them. Like they should have known, especially with something like Super Mario World or Super Mario Bros Wonder being so hyped and so many people talking about it. They probably should have looked at that and been like, you know what, if this game is going to be coming around that same time, let's maybe hold off just a little bit on our game and either come out with it sooner or come out with it a little bit later, just because and then on top of that, like I stated, the marketing as well. If you're not going to market the game, or if the marketing isn't going to be that good, people aren't even going to hear about it. Like I haven't heard about it myself, kind of a thing. So if they're going to be able to kind of want it to compete, at least have it where it's kind of in its own little time frame where they can go ahead and get a little bit of a better chance to get the sales, in my opinion. So the strategy expansion for Sonic IP is progressing well, and we will continue to work to increase repeated sales on this title. And at this point, I feel like that's pretty much all you can do, is just try to push it even further if you can. Maybe see about adding some more stuff to it if possible. But at this point, I feel like the marketing again should have been the main focus in regards to doing that. So, by citing competing titles in the same genre as major reasons, Sega essentially confirmed that releasing Sonic Superstars 3 days before Super Mario Bros. Wonder had an impact on sales. During the Game Awards on Thursday, Sega announced that the new Sonic racing game was in development. An extremely brief trailer for the game shows Sonic getting into a cart and driving into a portal. Was it Sonic? I'm pretty sure it was Shadow in that trailer. And I had seen that trailer as well, and I was thinking about doing a video on it, but the teaser trailer was so short that it kind of just made me feel like, nah, I'd rather go ahead and just hold off on this one. The game itself, I mean, just from the little teaser that they did give, it does look like it's gonna possibly be something really good. And as someone that loves Sonic Riders, I mean, I love that game so much. I actually would like to see the direction they're going to go with the Sonic racing game, just to see how good it is and if it is something worth checking out. So, and then let me just read this last sentence right here. So, Sumo Digital developed the last three Sonic kart racing games, with all three being well received by critics and players. And yeah, so I mean, I would definitely like to see the direction that they take in that regard. But at the same time, and when it comes down to this one, again, for me, it was the marketing, man. So, with the Sonic racing game, I feel like that's something that, people have been talking about. I've been seeing a few, articles here and there that are discussing it. So I feel like they at least had the have the knowledge to kind of go really well in that direction. And it does look like it is going to be something good. But when it comes down to Sonic Superstars, I feel like in regards to it, they kind of messed up, in my opinion. So I feel like hopefully they'll learn from this. They'll take this as a lesson and be able to improve on it later on, as far as making sure you have the good marketing. You kind of put it in a time frame where it won't be having so many competitors, especially competitors like they put in the same type of genre. So who knows, maybe they'll be able to learn from it. It seems like the president is kind of using this to take as like a learning lesson, to kind of make sure that they can kind of work a little bit better for later games in the entry, especially with like the Sonic movie coming out and then Sonic being at the height that it is. So those are my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Did you guys play Sonic Superstars, or did you guys even hear about it? If not, let me know what the information is with y'all, because I'm a little bit curious as to what how that went for you guys. So if you guys could like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys have been watching this long, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And yeah, until next time, Harmonic out. Peace.